Thanks for joining us on Arirang News. I'm Kim Dami in Seoul. A new senior secretary for civil affairs has been named by President Yoon as part of efforts to revitalize communication with the public, as the president himself promised. With the medical standoff getting further prolonged here in South Korea, the health ministry will extend medical system support for medical services provided to emergency patients by 1 more month. Operations against Hamas in eastern Rafah began after Hamas said it accepted a Qatari-Egyptian proposal for a Gaza ceasefire. Israel, however, insists the deal is far from meeting its demands. The post of Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs has been brought back by President Yoon to improve communication with the public. Now, the announcement also came ahead of Yoon's press conference this week, marking the second anniversary of his inauguration. Our Oh Soo-young starts us off.
President Yoon has named a Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs, reviving a post he previously scrapped, in a move to strengthen his communication with the public as he begins his third year in office this week. On Tuesday, Yoon himself announced he had re-established an office for civil affairs with former prosecutor and attorney Kim Ju-yeon as the head. This comes after the defeat of his ruling People Power Party at the April 10th general election. Yoon said he had failed to reflect the wishes of the people and vowed to reform the way he communicates and runs the country. During his presidential campaign, Yoon had pledged to streamline his administration to exclude the Secretary for Civil Affairs, citing previous misdeeds that occurred under the rule, including abuse of power over government bodies and the investigation of citizens. However, the president said on Tuesday he realized that the position had remained throughout successive governments in order to heed public opinion and better inform the management of state affairs. Kim pledged to do his best to ensure public opinion is reflected in the administration's policies and that issues experienced by citizens are resolved. In another move signaling change, President Yoon will hold a press conference on Thursday morning, according to spokesperson Kim Soo-young. A senior official said no questions are off the table. The press conference will aim to address a variety of topics within its roughly 1 hour timeframe, with the spokesperson moderating. Yoon's presser comes 21 months after his last media conference, which was for his 100th day in office. Since then, his media engagements have been limited, with the president even halting his impromptu question and answers or doorstepping sessions after a series of unsavory incidents with broadcaster MBC. However, experts say less communication may have adversely affected his public messaging.
I think that's really the key, I think, for him is not necessarily to reverse course on all his policies, because I think a lot of people do, I think, regard many of his policies as being very good for the country. It's just that I think partly is the way he presents it and the way his team has presented it, I think, up to this point in his administration.
As Yoon takes steps to make his approach to policy more inclusive and open to discussion, Yoon will deliver a video message to Korean citizens from his own office at 10 a.m. before his Thursday presser. He plans to explain how the administration has executed policies over the past 2 years and lay out what he plans to pursue for the next 3 years of his term. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Now, over the medical dispute, as the doctors' collective action shows no sign of ending soon, the government decides to increase financial support for emergency medical measures. Our Choi Soo-hyung reports.
The government will extend its financial support for the emergency medical system for 1 more month. On Tuesday, the Health Minister Cho Kyu-hong said the government will increase the financial support from May 11th amid the prolonged medical dispute following the mass exodus by trainee doctors. He also urged medical school professors to stop collective action regarding their statement on the 3rd to take a 1-week break if the medical school quota expansion is confirmed.
Some medical school professors are discussing a nationwide shutdown on May 10th and a 1-week collective halting of work if the expansion plan is confirmed. Please stop collective action, considering patients and their families who are fighting at the crossroads of life and death.
Since February, the government has been operating an emergency medical system to fill the medical gap due to collective action by trainee doctors opposing the government expansion plan. The emergency medical system is costing 190 billion Korean won, or almost $140 million each month. As part of the system, Minister Cho said the ministry will deploy an additional 36 military doctors. Currently, a total of 427 military and public health doctors are being deployed to hospitals which are facing significant shortages. Furthermore, the government plans to enhance support for specialized hospitals to the level of top-tier general hospitals. Meanwhile, the Presidential Special Committee on Medical Reform will hold a second meeting by the end of this week. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
South Korea's foreign exchange reserves have fallen amid efforts to stabilize the country's foreign exchange market due to the strengthening greenback. According to the Bank of Korea on Tuesday, the country's foreign exchange reserves came to just over $413 billion at the end of April, down $5.99 billion compared to the previous month. It attributed the drop to central bank authorities selling dollars in order to stabilize the fluctuating foreign exchange market, as well as a decrease in foreign currency deposits from financial institutions and dollar conversion of foreign currency assets. As of the end of March, South Korea's foreign exchange reserves were the 9th largest in the world. The average monthly wholesale price of dried seaweed in South Korea has soared 80% on year, surpassing 10,000 won, which is around $7.37 for the first time. According to a report from the Korea Maritime Institute's Fisheries Outlook Center on Tuesday, the average wholesale price of dried seaweed in April hit 10,089 won per pack, up 80.1% from the same period last year. The report cited increased export demand for seaweed, leading to the overall inventory decreasing to 2/3 the normal level. Now, the center predicts that the prices will remain in the 10,000 to 11,000 won range until December this year. A ceasefire deal for Gaza remains uncertain as Israel rejected a proposal from mediators from Qatar and Egypt and went ahead with attacks on Rafah. That followed reports that Hamas had accepted the terms of the same proposal. Our Lee Soo-jin has the details.
Hopes of a ceasefire deal for Gaza have been cast in doubt as Israel carried out targeted attacks in Rafah. According to senior Israel Defense Force spokesman Daniel Hagari, the IDF hit some 50 facilities in the Rafah area, while Palestinian and Egyptian officials said Israeli tanks moved to the outskirts of Rafah on Monday night. This comes after the leadership of Hamas accepted the terms of a ceasefire deal proposed by mediators from Qatar and Egypt. However, Israel said it would not accept the deal. According to a statement released by the Israeli Prime Minister's office on Monday local time, the terms of the ceasefire were still far from meeting Israel's core demands, and its war cabinet voted unanimously to continue its military operations in Rafah. Israel, however, said that it will send its negotiators to talk to mediators to try to reach a ceasefire agreement on terms that are acceptable to Israel. On the same day, Hamas announced it accepted a three-phase deal for a ceasefire, saying that the ball was now in Israel's court. And the acceptance of the deal came just hours after Israel ordered an evacuation of some 100,000 Palestinians from Rafah, as it said that it would continue with its military operation in the area. The first part of the three-phase deal includes the release of 33 hostages taken from Israel in exchange for a 6-week-long pause in fighting, where Israel will allow Palestinians to freely move from the south of Gaza to the north. This would be followed by another 42-day truce, which would include the withdrawal of most of Israel's troops from Gaza and Hamas releasing several Israeli soldiers in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The third and last phase would entail a full hostage swap as well as clear guarantees for an end to the war from countries including the United States. The U.S., which is one of the mediator countries in the talks alongside Qatar and Egypt, said that it is reviewing the response.
So I can confirm that Hamas has issued a response. We are reviewing that response now and discussing it with our partners in the region. We continue to believe that a hostage deal is in the best interests of the Israeli people. It's in the best interest of the Palestinian people. It would bring.
And in response to the Israeli government closing Al Jazeera's operations in the country, the U.S. voiced concerns, saying it supports press freedom across the world. Lee Soo-jin, Arirang News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered tactical nuclear weapons drills in response to what the Kremlin says are provocations and threats from the West. The announcement comes just a day before Putin is set to be sworn in for his fifth term as Russia's leader. Lee Seung-jae reports.
Just a day before the inauguration for his fifth term in office, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday sent a warning to the West by ordering tactical nuclear weapons drills. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the Southern Military District's missile units have begun preparations for tactical nuclear weapons drills set to take place in the near future with the participation of its Air Force and Navy. The ministry explained that Putin ordered the drills to defend Russian territory and ensure its sovereignty in response to provocative remarks and threats by the West. This comes as French President Emmanuel Macron raised the idea of sending European troops to fight Russia in Ukraine, while British Foreign Secretary David Cameron said that Ukraine has the right to use weapons provided by the UK to strike targets inside Russia. Moscow has also accused the US and its European allies of pushing the world to the brink of a nuclear war by supporting Ukraine with tens of billions of dollars worth of weapons, some of which it says are being used against Russian territory. The Southern Military District is headquartered in southern Russia near the Ukrainian border. It operates in Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson regions, which Russia claims were newly incorporated during its special military operation. Meanwhile, Putin is set to be sworn in for the fifth time on Tuesday at an inauguration ceremony held in Moscow. Putin will be in power until at least 2030 and will be able to run for another six-year term after the 2030 presidential election. The Russian leader has been in power since 1999, when he took over as acting president following the resignation of former President Boris Yeltsin. He also served as prime minister from 2008 to 2012. Putin won Russia's presidential election in March, receiving over 87% of the votes. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping was in France for a two-day state visit to open his European tour, where he spoke with French President Emmanuel Macron and EU Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen. Both European leaders pressed Xi to ensure a more balanced trade with Europe, while Xi was also urged to influence Russia into ending the war with Ukraine. Yoon reports.
Chinese leader Xi Jinping is on his first visit to Europe in 5 years, which started with a two-day visit in Paris, where he met with his French and EU counterparts. The visit comes amid heightened economic and trade tensions, including the EU's investigation into China's electric vehicle exports and Beijing's anti-dumping probe on French cognac. Von der Leyen said after Monday's talks that the EU and China have a complex relationship, and that Europe is willing to make tough decisions to protect its economy and national security. She also said a China that plays fair would benefit the global economy.
The world cannot absorb China's surplus production. Therefore, I have encouraged the Chinese government to address these structural overcapacities. At the same time, we will closely coordinate with G7 countries and emerging economies that are also increasingly affected by China's market distortions.
According to French diplomatic sources, Xi Jinping appeared receptive, but it was unclear whether that would lead to action. The Chinese leader reiterated that its relationship with Europe is a foreign policy priority. But according to Chinese media, he also told his counterparts that the problem of China's overcapacity does not exist. Also during the meetings in Paris, Macron urged the Chinese leader to use his influence on Russia to end the war with Ukraine. To further urge Xi, von der Leyen said that the EU is counting on Beijing to influence Moscow in a statement following the talks on Monday.
President Xi has played an important role in de-escalating Russia's irresponsible nuclear threats, and I'm confident that President Xi will continue to do so against the backdrop of the ongoing nuclear threats by Russia.
The Chinese leader will be in the Pyrenees Mountains on Tuesday before his visit to Serbia and Hungary later in the week. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
We're less than 3 months away from the 2024 Paris Olympics. As the world gets ready for this sports and cultural extravaganza, Korea is among those that are taking center stage to showcase its vibrant culture. Our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin reports from Paris.
Paris, after a century-long wait, will once again host the Olympics. Many say that the Paris Games will be a celebration of culture, reflecting the city's rich tapestry of art and deep appreciation of its heritage. Drawing attention in the build-up to the Games is the Cultural Olympiad, a cultural program that'll offer around 60,000 events until the Paralympics conclude. Among them is this dance showdown at the Théâtre du Châtelet in the heart of Paris. It's a clash of titans. Korea's 1 Million and France's Pokemon crew are battling it out on the dance floor. This is Urban Pulse Uprising, the opening event of the 2024 Korea season, officially recognized under the Cultural Olympiad label by the Paris 2024 Organizing Committee.
With the Paris Summer Olympics starting in July, from today, around 30 national art companies and cultural organizations from Korea will help promote traditional and modern Korean culture for the next 6 months. We hope Korean art and culture will flourish here in Paris, known as the City of Art.
Hosted by the Culture Ministry since 2022, the Korea season is dedicated to promoting Korean culture worldwide by organizing a wide range of programs in a selected country throughout the year. For this year, the first spotlight shines on breakdancing, as it's set to debut as an official Olympic sport in Paris 2024. After 70 minutes of individual performances, there is a 20-minute dance battle. 1 Million is famous for its catchy K-pop choreography and boasts of the highest number of subscribers for a dance channel on YouTube.
The Olympics is a global celebration, and performing here in the host city is exhilarating. We hope we can showcase K-culture and promote a positive global image through our performance.
I believe breakdancing was chosen as an official Olympic event because of its blend of technical skill and artistic expression, much like figure skating.
Pokemon Crew has been a heavyweight in the street dance scene for 2 decades, clinching numerous breakdancing championship titles.
In the past, this theater was reserved exclusively for the elite. Now, the fact that it hosts popular cultural things like hip-hop and K-pop sends a beautiful message. A space once accessible only to a select few is now open to all.
A complete sellout of tickets for over 1,000 seats, it's evidence of the rising popularity of K-culture in France, raising expectations for a successful Korea season this year.
K-pop has taken France by storm. It's not uncommon to hear young children sing Korean songs and follow the fashion of K-pop artists. K-culture has truly become a cultural phenomenon among the younger generation.
So with Thursday's opening performance, the 2024 Korea season has officially kicked off. The program will run across the French capital until October. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News, Paris.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. In Brazil, catastrophic floods in the southern state of Rio Grande do Sul over the past week have killed at least 83 and injured 276, while at least 111 people remained missing as of Monday. According to the Civil Defense Unit of Rio Grande do Sul on Monday, the floods also displaced over 120,000 people, while more than 850,000 residents in over 345 municipalities were affected by destroyed or damaged homes, roads and other infrastructure. Military firefighters have been dispatched for rescue missions, with more active operations set to begin once the rain stops. While weather conditions improved on Monday, local weather forecaster Meteo Meteorologia said the rains could pick up again from May 10th. In Mexico City, cannons were fired on Sunday to kick off the annual celebration of Cinco de Mayo. Now in its 94th year, Cinco de Mayo marks the Battle of Puebla on May 5, 1862, when Mexican soldiers were victorious over Napoleon Bonaparte's French forces during the Second Franco-Mexican War. Traditional festivities took place in El Peñón de los Baños district in Mexico City, where local families and residents took part in a parade. Locals were also seen wearing period costumes as part of a reenactment of the historic battle against the French. In France, bakers in the suburbs of Paris have baked the world's longest baguette. The baguette, which was 140.53 meters long, was baked on Sunday during an event for the French Confederation of Bakers and Pastry Chefs. It was approved by the Guinness World Records judge as the longest baguette in the world, allowing the French bakers to reclaim the title back from Italy, as the previous record of 132.62 meters set in Italian city of Como in 2019 was broken. The lengthy baguette was cut and shared with the public, with the majority donated to homeless people. Kim Xiang, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. Summer-like conditions on Saturday turned into wet and cloudy Children's Day, and since then, on and off rain continues in most places. Southern regions will see 5 to 30 millimeters of more rain, but the capital area will see fewer showers. Rain will go away from the capital and west of Gangwon-do this afternoon, but southern regions should brace for more rain through early tomorrow. Temperatures in the capital will be a couple of degrees higher this afternoon, but southern regions will notice highs going down 4 to 7 degrees lower than yesterday. For a closer look, Seoul gets up to 18 degrees, Daejeon sees a high of 17 degrees Celsius, but Jeju will be sunny all day with a high of 21 degrees. The air quality will be decent nationwide all day today. Then pleasant weather returns tomorrow with sunnier skies. Then the weather should stay fine through the rest of the week with big temperature differences between lows and highs. With that in mind, let's take a look at the international weather conditions.
That is all we have at this hour. Arirang News will be back at 2 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.